some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
Hey there, hi there, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jamie and I can't play guitar. Welcome to the Daily Hangout. We're hanging out today on June 24th, 2023. We're going to be playing guitar, watching some videos. Welcome, hey, hello, and let's get started. Today we're going to be watching videos from a bunch of different channels. If you're familiar with the broadcast, welcome back. If not, what we like to do here, this is an excuse for me to have 30 minutes at minimum every morning. My son just woke up and I put him back down for bed, so this is my time to play guitar, hang out with y'all, watch some videos, and you can join me every morning between 4 and 6 a.m. or watch the rebroadcast. My name is Jamie and I can't play guitar, but I've been learning for the last few years, and this is my daily regiment. So if you have something you're trying to practice, or you just want to meet us here every day and hang out, you can turn off the audio, get to your practice, keep the audio on, hang out and watch videos with us, whatever you like. We'd love to be your daily motivation. If you are working on something, check in with us on the chat. If it's guitar, we'd love to know. If it's something else, that's cool. If you're just here to hang out, let us know. How's it going? Let's get to the videos for the day. You can see the schedule on screen. On stream. It is on stream, but on screen. And we're going to be watching a few different videos. Let's take a look at them right now so we can let you know what they're going to be. First off, it is going to be a video from Jamari. Horrible streamer gets checked again, then banned. I actually have no idea who that is. And then we didn't watch this video yesterday because we had to stop the broadcast early. We were doing we're actually doing it again today, yard sale, but there was stuff that was not ready, so my wife came up and I had to cut the broadcast short. So we'll watch Current State of the Channel by Peter McKinnon, and then there's a few other videos in defense of toxic internet culture, and Western companies prepare to carve up Ukraine by First Thought, and what UPS doesn't want you to know. XQC is in huge trouble. All these videos coming up next. First, we're going to get started with Horrible Streamer Gets Checked Again, then Banned. Let's do it.
So it has been a couple of weeks since we talked about this in real life streamer named Johnny Somali. This guy pretty much spawned out of nowhere, like when you suddenly find maggots in your trash can outside. Like they are literally just born out of poop. And with this guy, it's really the same story. People began to know who he was when he decided to go around Japan harassing people for his viewers' pleasure. That is until some people pulled up on the place he was staying. He faced the Japanese law enforcement a couple of times. And he also got handled out in those Japanese streets more than once. And the thing is, he's not even making money doing this. The little clown cannot even
He got handled.
break 20 subscribers on his Patreon, because let's be honest, anyone tuning into this joke of a live stream is probably as broke and miserable as Johnny. And while the buffoonery has continued, his days online could be numbered based on what I have to show you today. And while it is rumored that Johnny Somali has now moved on to Bali to continue his harassment of the general public there, I do still have some clips to show you from before he left Japan, likely before Johnny figured out that things were about to get pretty dark for him over there.
That's what Where's the hose at?
Bro, I don't know.
The hose.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
You just said hose.
Where's the hose at?
You shouldn't be asking me though, because I don't know.
You don't know where
You're probably in the clubs.
What club?
So she clearly doesn't want anything to do with his dumb ass. She doesn't want to entertain his stupid little streamer games talking
She's being
about
nice
where the
enough,
hoe's
man.
at.
She
And
just
she's
said, like, go to
dismissing
the
him like
club.
the little boy he is.
What's your name? What's your name?
I don't know, man. I don't think you deserve my name anymore.
I don't think so either.
Come on, man. These shit assholes. Where the hose at, nigga?
So at the end there, you can tell that he's still spouting off his racial nonsense. This is the continuation of that clip we just watched.
She said you don't deserve my name. Shut your Chinese ass up, bitch.
Dude.
So just once again, yeah, another example of this guy going to a foreign country and being straight up racist towards the people that live there.
That's
Yo,
just-
I'm not gonna
just-
lie. Japanese niggas, I don't know why they f with me. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand why these Japanese niggas like me. I don't understand. Because I really be behaving like a f***ing chimp. Why these Japanese niggas like me?
Yeah, I don't think they like you at all. I think that they're just some pretty non-confrontational people. Some of them might not understand the stupid things coming out of your mouth. And for the most part, they're really probably just trying to keep the peace and basically move along with their day. Here's yet another clip where he went to the Disney World in
just
Japan
annoying.
and was yet again playing some absolute bullshit music out of his stupid little speaker.
Mother love me long time, long time. Sucky, sucky, fucky, fucky, one ton, hung tongue.
Dude, are you kidding me?
What the f y'all doing, bro?
And to me at this point, I don't know who is stupider, whether it be him or the idiot sitting at home watching this for fun. So yeah, he's once again just going around mocking these people
Seriously?
for one of the greatest tragedies that their country has ever faced. Keep in mind, he did all of this only days after he issued this apparent apology, where he said he was sorry to the people of Japan and vowed to stop harassing them.
皆さん、この度は、大変お騒がせして申し訳ありませんでした。
And this is yet another clip from after he had already traveled to Bali, where a streamer socks him pretty good in the face with what looks like a tennis racket. And poor little Johnny, he really had no defense.
他在街头在国际媒体上变得超火。
He said you're a dick and everybody hates you, dude.
And he's basically telling him there, yeah, I'm smacking the shit out of you because of what you did in Japan and how you pretty much messed up that whole trip for us. And just a little side note, it looks like no one in this room full of streamers has showered in the last week.
That shit stank, don't it? Ugh.
Here's actually the view from his live stream.
他在街头在国际媒体上变得超火。
This is for Japan, bro.
He swatted that man like a fly.
Don't post me, bro.
And then I found some other clips of Johnny here. Shout out to this guy Nax for also documenting this entire thing.
I got HIV, so I'm trying to spread it here on the island. I'm serious. Some girl gave it to me, so like now I'm a super spreader. So I came here, I'm like, I got revenge. You know what I mean? I'm trying to spread it to everybody here.
So basically, he's going around Bali with this same old tired shtick, and people kind of just want to laugh their way out of it until this idiot goes away.
Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. That's what I'm fighting for. That's what the soldiers died for in Okinawa. That's what they died for, beach hopping and island hopping.
I don't know if it's just like the latest grift or what, but it is always hilarious to me when people claim they're fighting for freedom of speech when really they're just going around harassing others.
Oh, you live in Japan? Yeah. World War I, World War II.
Oh my god, dude.
No, they want World War III.
This guy's is a punchable face.
Oh, you working in Japan? I have work to finish in Japan. Finish? Yeah.
The guy has no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Unfinished business.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like a threat right there to me. Talking about I'm trying to create World War III in Japan, I have unfinished business there.
Really?
When all that really happened is that he went over there and was harassing people out in public, and then he got checked a couple of times for doing so, and now he wants to be mad? I mean, truly, the self-victimization of this clown is hilarious. And it does seem like his 15 seconds of fame might finally be up, as when you currently go over to his Kick page, you receive this error.
Oh, he's streaming
and with some
on
of
Kick.
the degeneracy going on over at Kick, when even they don't want your ass, you know you must really be doing something pretty foul. And people were saying that this whole situation is very reminiscent of when Logan Paul took his trip to Japan and was doing stuff like this.
Oh, so we're gonna be respectful. The Game Boy Color. How much? 9,500. Excuse me, sir. The game seems to be malfunctioning. Mucho broken, though. No! Okay, get him. Honey, get him. Oh, catch you. I choose you. He has no idea. Hello. Oh. Hi. How you feel?
You just gotta be careful to not disrespect the culture.
You sure you don't want this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And it's just funny to me that no matter how mature Logan might like to act like he is now, he was still a grown man.
Yeah, I've never... Every time I see these clips, I'm reminded of, what a total piece of shit this guy, Logan Paul, is still. He would still do that if he wouldn't get in trouble for it, 100%.
And I believe in his early to mid 20s out here doing this disrespectful shit for really no reason but to entertain his audience of very
Logan
young
Paul's,
kids.
pretty close
Either
to my
way, y'all
age.
let me know what you guys think about this Johnny Somali
It's just
update down below
embarrassing,
in
bro.
the comments. At the end of the day, it is truly my belief that his career will crash and burn just like all the other clout chasing demons that we've covered on my channel. Either way, I do want to thank
Hopefully.
you for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, it's been your boy, the Tan Superman, and some of the clowns out here need to be covered,
The
so
Tan
I'm out.
Superman.
Peace!
Thanks, Jamari.
All right, so during the
Alright, so we already watched that one. That's actually a video from Too Lazy to Try. He was talking about Bobby Lee and Bert Kreischer, but we're going to watch Current State of the Channel by Peter McKinnon. Let's hit it. Peter McKinnon, if you don't know, massive photography and video, cinematography, video production streamer. I like him a lot. He lives actually... As far as I know, he lives fairly close to me in Buffalo. He lives just north of me, outskirts of Toronto, which is within an hour and a half, 2 hours of here, and also where I was born. So what's up, Peter?
What's up, everybody? Peter McKinnon here.
What's
Welcome back
up?
to
Jesus,
yet
forgot about
another
that.
video. We're still in the office. This is a different part of the office, studio, what have you. I got to do a studio tour. I still got to do it, but I wanted to just get in front of you guys and say hello. It's been a little while. I've been uploading less. I feel like I've been uploading a lot. I had 2 bangers last week. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. But I wanted to chime in and say, how are you? I've missed you. Make sure my mic is facing my face a little bit more. I just got back the other day from the Grand Prix in Montreal, which was amazing. I shot the whole thing on film. I thought it'd be interesting shooting the world's fastest sport the slowest way. And those two things married together might make for some interesting moments caught on film, which I certainly did. It's pretty cool. So yes, I am still in love with the film process, still learning, still shooting a ton. I gotta say, of the last 20 years shooting, I really feel like I've had the biggest leap of improvement and growth as a photographer since I started shooting film again. So it's been very great, it's been very inspiring, and I've even seen some messages from you guys in DMs and meeting you at the race and at the shop here that you've also been inspired to pick up a film camera and throw a few rolls through it yourself, which makes me super excited. So if that has been something you're doing, I'm literally pumped for you because it's been so great for me and my creativity. I have no shortage of ideas for it. It's just I don't want to just completely bombard you with film stuff because digital still exists and it's still important and it still has a place. So we'll be trying to balance the two over the coming months. I was in Atlanta about 3 weeks ago at a convention called Blade, which is just basically where a ton of manufacturers and makers from around the world get together and sell knives. It's pretty crazy. We made a video about it. It's over on the Pirate channel. We've resurrected that and we'll be posting there again as well. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of ingredients in the soup that we are making. A little spoiler alert, we built a pirate ship. Very, very cool. But the next thing I'm very excited about is I'm learning how to tattoo. Yes, I'm not gonna become a full-blown tattoo artist. That is a lifetime endeavor. That is something you are constantly working on. The skill and determination and requirement and sacrifice for something like that to get to the level. I still haven't beat my high score, and that reminds me literally every 8 minutes that I have not. I'm nowhere near Andrew Wilson's level, who is my neighbor, by the way, who tattoos daily, so I get to wander in and just see what he's up to, and sometimes he lets me tattoo him, which is pretty great, but it's super nerve-wracking. My hand was shaking. The last time my hands shook that much is when I was doing card tricks for people for a paid event, and it was the first time ever doing them live, and you're so nervous. I probably shouldn't have coffee before I do it, so next time I will do that. But he just got me this new machine, and it comes in this sick little box. His friends over at FYT hooked all this stuff up, so FYT, thank you very much for helping me start my tattoo journey. But
all right, before he opens this, I know there's a lot of Peter McKinnon copycats, and even Peter has been called like a Casey Neistat copycat. But this video kind of reminds me that like Peter is definitely a true creative guy, and the reason I think a lot of people connect with him, and the reason I connect with him really well, is he seems a lot like I think a lot of us are, where he has such a variety of interests, from magic that he mentioned to specific knives. He's going to conventions, and then he mentions he's learning how to tattoo. It sounds like me. I like photo and video, learning guitar and bass, plenty of other hobbies that you may even see on this channel. But we're gonna let this play out. I gotta take a quick restroom break, so we're gonna play. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna put it on break for about 5 minutes or less, and we'll be back as soon as possible. We'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back. We're going to play this, and I'm going to have special treats off screen.
This thing sanitizes the machine. I want to get good at a couple little things that I want to practice: a pizza slice, a coffee cup, just some fun little things that I think people would enjoy getting tattooed on them. And maybe you'll come get tattooed by me. We'll hang out, talk cameras, bang off a couple quick tattoos, have some coffee, and that would be one hell of a day. So that is something that I'm working on the side. You may have remembered in past videos I've talked about having a thing that's not your thing is very important. I love photography. I eat, breathe, sleep photography. It's even more powerful now with the addition of film. I am all encompassed in this world.
What do I do?
So it's nice to have something fully opposite that I can kind of practice and mess around with and learn, that stimulates my creativity, that is nowhere
I have other stuff.
near
I like
taking
doing
photos.
a lot of housework.
So it's been really fun. And
yeah, I guess guitar could be considered kind of close, but it's definitely not the same skill set at all. So for me, a thing that's not my thing, guitar, and I also really like to, well, it's not really like I like to go to like theme parks and go on roller coasters and stuff. But I guess another thing is like I like to do, I'm not good at it, but I like to do like DIY crafts and stuff. Like I was just telling my wife before I came back up here, that's why I took a little longer. I've been like obsessed. I've been like fucking absolutely obsessed with our AC unit. Like I'll get very obsessed with certain stuff. So our AC unit is leaking somehow, and I want to figure out how to fix it. And so that kind of thing, like fixing stuff, I guess it's a thing that's not my thing. I like to be basically like, I like to repair stuff. But that's, yeah, that doesn't feel like a hobby, honestly. So I don't really need to throw another ball into the mix, but it's interesting. All right, sorry, I think I got sidetracked there.
Thanks, Andrew, for putting up with my shaky hands and letting me tattoo garbage on your legs. All right, this video is brought to you by Artlist, our friends over at Artlist.
Fuck sponsors. We don't like sponsors. Nope. Fuck sponsors. We are not sponsored, so we don't use sponsors on this channel, and fuck all sponsors.
A new product launching that has been ready for months. It's probably been years at this point that we've been working on it. At least a year and a half. But it's like I'm looking at it right. It's going to be great. Promo's been filmed, photos have been taken. You will be seeing that very, very soon. So stay tuned for new product goodness, which is always exciting. Being able to make products is super exciting. Physical goods that you can ship and see people using. When just at Formula One, being able to see all the different filters used by all the media guys from the teams. Like you're running to the podium and you see Red Bull's already there, and they've got a guy filming and they're using a Peter McKinnon filter. That's insane. You randomly bump into someone leaving Iceland and they happen to be wearing a Peter McKinnon backpack. I can't even begin to describe to you how proud and how excited that makes me. So thank you for your support, and I think you will love what we have coming next month. It's been a lot of work, and we're all very, very excited for it. Not long now. Not long. There's three comments I've been seeing: an office tour and an everyday updated carry, but I feel like that maybe that's a Pirate Channel thing, and a Chevy update. So there's those three things that I've been seeing.
Cannons,
the Chevy, the 1963 Chevy C10 is finally
I'm a
done.
Nikon guy.
And I say finally because Howard put an ungodly amount of work and love and blood and passion and tears into this truck to make it the smoothest, nicest ride I have ever experienced driving a vehicle. So the high score still needs to be beat. That's will probably be part of the office tour if I do it. Let me know. Let me hear your thoughts. Today is the first day of summer. It's also my cousin's birthday, Willie. I love ya. Happy birthday. I forgot his birthday once, and he's never let me forget it. He almost forgot mine once until my wife called him at 11:58. She texted him and said, "Don't forget it's Pete's birthday," and he squeezed it in 1 minute before it was over. And I'm down 1-0 to the point where I've actually tattooed his birthday on my wrist so I would never forget again. I would love
He tattooed
for
his
him to
friend's
forget
birthday?
mine. I don't know why I told you that. He's had a huge involvement in this channel behind the scenes with ideation, support, and inspiration. So I just felt like it was important to give credit where credit was due. A ghostwriter, if you will. Everybody leave a comment. Happy birthday, Willie. And then leave a little
happy birthday,
paramedic
Willie.
sign or something because he saves lives. That's what he does for a living. Insane. I'm hanging more neons tomorrow because this isn't enough. I keep looking at this and I think more. And it's
I know what you mean though, man.
just a quick update, saying hi,
Just
letting you
keep
know that I'm
putting
still
shit on the
here. I'm
walls.
still very much working in the background behind the scenes. But like I said at the beginning
Life's
of the year,
busy, dog.
in the video titled "You Might Be Seeing Less of Me," that was the truth. I've been trying to figure out a way to communicate my art in a different manner that isn't necessarily 3 times a week, the same vlogs you've seen for the last 5-6 years now
Good
on
sale,
YouTube.
right?
I wanted to just have a different approach to video making, and that was in fact slowing down. So I don't know that we'll continue that slow for the rest of the year now that we're kind of almost at a halfway point, but I feel like a video like this was important for me to just let you know that
Cool.
I'm still here, I still love you, I still care about you, I still care about this channel, I love it more than I ever have. That love for creating only grows bigger. Plus, you should come see my coffee shop and pirate shop. There's a retail space.
Really?
Like we
I
made
might have to visit
a
that.
pirate store.
I'm
It's
going to
cool.
Toronto on Canada
good
Day
coffee.
for
That's it for me,
Blue
guys.
Jays game,
Thanks so much
so-
for watching. Hit the like button if you. Well, how did I used to end the videos? Hit the like button if you like this
What's
video.
up,
Subscribe
guys?
if you haven't.
All right, so there's that. What's next? I gotta hit the bathroom again. I got some bathroom trouble going down. Alright, we're gonna put on another video and see how long we can last. XQC is in huge trouble. Pyro Live. Let's see.
So I've already talked about the situation with XQC being offered a very lucrative deal to join Kick, a competitor to Twitch. Now, I do have to put it out there, Kick has some huge differences to Twitch. First of all being the layout is green instead of purple. And secondly, you can gamble on there to your heart's content. Something like, for example, slots, which Twitch phased out a couple months ago. And again, I'm sure you're all aware that XQC got offered that juicy 100...
I hear the layout looks like nearly identical other than the color scheme and stuff. I think they bought, in fact, like the guts of Twitch from Amazon and they just reskinned it. So apparently Amazon doesn't even care that Kick exists because they're willing to license them the entire streaming platform network or like framework.
$100 million contract for a 2-year deal, which, by the way, is $3 million more than LeBron James got offered for his 2-year contract
Dude, yeah,
renewal.
that's
I just
wild.
like the fact how we live in a world where a professional NBA basketball player with an actual legacy is being outdone by a guy that watches MasterChef on stream. 50% of the time, the chair's probably empty as well. But reading the title, unfortunately, there is some bad news
roasted.
because despite scoring this huge bag of $100 million for 2 years, which is just insane, XQC has landed himself in quite a lot of trouble, most of it his own doing. Now, one thing that XQC likes to do is movie night. I'm not sure how he does it, whether it's like a weekly or monthly thing, but basically he'll sit down, watch some kind of like, you know, series of YouTube videos, TV shows, maybe some kind of like copyright-free films. But he decided to take the ultimate gamble, and on one of his first streams on Kick after scoring that $100 million contract, chose to stream Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight
No way.
in its entirety. Now, I'm sure that I don't have to tell you that streaming the entirety of the Batman film is not a very good idea, no matter how old it is still a copyright minefield regardless. It's basically the equivalent of a streamer playing Valorant.
I'm sorry, he said no matter how old it is. Bro, it's like 12 years old. I guess it's a little older than you look, Pyro.
and in the background they've got the entirety of like the Travis Scott new album playing. Like, it is going to get muted at least, if not entirely taken down. I don't think people understand how bad copyright is on like streaming or even on YouTube.
Bro.
So for example, now the way YouTube works is if you play copyrighted material or music, like, you can only play up to 3 seconds. A nanosecond more than that, you're eligible for a takedown. And the only way on God's green earth that you're allowed to go over that 3-second mark is if some kind of technicality, like for example, if you're streaming or playing a video and someone passing by, like in a car radio, is playing a copyrighted song. That's probably to protect people that would stream Fortnite or PUBG and have it be stream sniped by people playing like the new Bladey album. So like I said, X chose to play the Batman film in its entirety on stream.
Dude.
And about an hour into the film, the Kick admins came into the chat absolutely shitting themselves, saying, you need to take the stream down now. Don't just stop watching The Dark Knight. You need to end the stream now, and you need to delete the VOD. We need to remove all evidence of this even happening.
Fuck, okay, I get it. Ah, shit, makes sense. VOD friends, GG's.
You can see on the top right the message of the mods being like very, you know, cordial and polite, but like they are sweating buckets. They are shitting themselves. And then in a bizarre turn of events, you had other streamers basically like self-reporting. For example, Destiny said that he filed the DMCA takedown against XQC. Obviously a joke, but I have no understanding of like why you would even want to lie about something like that when XQC could put his army of dribblers against you.
Report XQC for watching movies last night. Yeah, the thing was I was watching them, but then I got kind of tired. I went to sleep. But I figured, like, if I'm going to go to sleep, I don't want to finish the movie without me. So I figured I would just DMCA him so that they'd stop.
And then, in a beautiful show of inconsistent force, XQC was actually annoyed because a couple days later, Aiden Ross, despite this whole, you know, fiasco of him not being able to play The Dark Knight, Aiden Ross played Prison Break, the TV series, on stream. And apparently there was no issues there.
Of course he did.
It's a little complicated, for sure. You have to think. Use the brain.
Now, I've talked about Aiden Ross before, but I actually want to congratulate him for the balls that guy has. The fact that you would stream something that is now owned by Disney, I can respect that, man. I actually kneel. The two companies you never want to piss off in your entire life is Nintendo and Disney. Disney will basically just lynch you on the spot while Mickey Mouse points and laughs. And then Nintendo will kidnap you, hire you to be a Nintendo lawyer, train you up for 7 years, and then on the day you get the job, probably fire you to bring great shame upon your family. But we're not done there. Shortly after the whole Dark Knight fiasco where XQC was, you know, playing a whole film on stream, which is just I still can't believe that happened. But after that, he got a stern talking to by Trainwrecks. Now, if you don't know who Trainwrecks is, he was a serial gambler over on Twitch. He now owns like part of Kick, and he streams on there more frequently. And he basically gave X a really stern talking to, saying, "Don't you ever do that again, young man. Don't you ever don't do it. Don't you do it." And I would like to point out how one-sided this entire conversation is. I just want you, during this clip, look at XQC and look how he reacts to the pearls of wisdom being transmitted to his brain. The only comparison I can ever think of to this is an unskippable cutscene. As long as
he just can't. He called it an unskippable cutscene. So I don't even know how I feel about XQC. I have like very few opinions on him, except like he talks fast, which isn't really an opinion. That's just like a fact. But this is making me like him more, honestly, if he's gonna just do this to Trainwrecks and just destroy. He said he treated his talking to like an unskippable cutscene.
You believe in it, as long as you're gonna make waves, this will be your legacy, and I believe it's going to make waves, and it's gonna bring change, and there will be a day where everyone shows their true colors, because time will tell. And believe me, with what I know, they've already shown their true colors. The public just doesn't know it. If they were offered, they can say no all day, but believe me, I know their groups, I know who's talked to who, and they've all talked.
His chat is trolling him.
Bullshit, bro.
Now you'd think, after getting a stern talking to with a father figure, X would think, you know what, no more.
He was just being so disrespectful. He took his foot and fucking put it in his mouth while Trainwrecks was saying, "This is gonna be your legacy."
No more will I stream completely illegal content on the streaming service that I just got $100 million bag for. No more. Do you think he learned? No, of course he didn't. That's why he's the biggest streamer in the world. He's a fucking idiot. And then a couple days later, he started He started streaming Breaking Bad. I mean, to be fair, in XQC's defense, I'll allow it because he is streaming the single best TV show of all time. Hopefully, after he gets a DMCA for streaming Breaking Bad, he'll probably stream The Sopranos next instead. Now, XQC's behavior had sent massive ripples across the entire Twitch sphere. For example, Pokimane, that I talked about in the previous XQC video, she basically alluded to saying that the only reason that Kick exists is because Twitch allows it. Bit of a weird cope. But then on stream, she was asked by chat, would she actually join Kick if she was offered $10 million, 10% of what XQC got?
Nope. No, and it's not because I got like $10 million. It's just because I'm good as I am. Why would I
Wouldn't change your life.
compromise my morals and ethics for more money when I have money? Something about that is so cringe to me personally.
Okay. I'm not, here we'll give our take on Pokimane. Additionally, just like XQC, don't know much about her. Really nice mic, and I like the take that she has enough money. She's not a 10 millionaire, she's admitting here, which, you know, probably sounds right. Neither am I. And, but she said, like, she's comfortable. She makes a decent salary for herself, so at her current job, and $10 million would not make her more comfortable, necessarily. I think that's what she's saying. I like that.
Like, I understand, you know, if you need to make money.
I think both her and XQC, though, are pretty set.
For me to do cringe shit
Just
when
have,
I have my, I can't.
yeah.
Like, ew.
She could live with low overhead if she wanted.
How do I... Can
Hopefully
someone
she
put
does.
this into words better than I can? It's almost embarrassing.
I like how in the opening statement she has to announce how much wealth she has, you know, just so it's not an insecurity. Now, if you're wondering, me personally, I would join Kick for $1 million. So would, like, every single human on the entire planet, apart from, like, 20 plus streamers. And then, in a really meta way, XQC reacted to Pokimane reacting to the question while he was on Twitch.
I don't
He
think
wasn't even doing this on
everyone
Kick.
would.
He was back on Twitch.
She's kind of in a unique spot. I feel like she probably is
Okay, yes, it's the
a
same.
1% wealth.
Gamba equals the win argument. So basically, now that so now instead of winning the argument, now it's layering morals and ethics on top of that, and it's stacking the deck as much as they can, saying Gamba win lol W. That's what it is. Okay, I get it. It's a classic.
No, I don't understand.
Wow, this is deep layered. So I'm commenting on Pyro, commenting on Pokimane, commenting on XQC, commenting. All right, so, yeah, I think they all just have shit-ass takes here. I thought Pokimane was saying, like, it's fine for XQC to do that, but I wouldn't do it. I'm not even sure, but now Pyro is shitting on Pokimane. I thought she was just like, I would never do that. I don't know why he did, but whatever. I thought that was her take. I don't know. I guess she was shitting on him more than seems like everyone in this situation is super fucking sensitive about it, and I get it. Comments about you on the internet, someone makes a video about you on the internet, it's hard not to react. But like, I gotta go watch that video Pokimane again, because I thought she was saying that she really didn't give a fuck. Like, obviously she is saying, like, in her situation she doesn't need to, but yeah, I think, like, the three people who are speaking on it, Pyro, XQC, and Pokimane, like, they're all in what I would assume to be unique 1% of wealth situations where, like, most of them could either go get a regular job off of their talents, we'll call it, or, you know, like, I'm guessing XQC and Pokimane at the very least have some kind of hopefully savings account that could last them for, you know, at least 5 years while they looked for another job, which is more of a parachute than most people could ever hope to have in their lifetime. So yeah, like I don't know what Pyro's. It's a weird take, cause like yeah, a lot of people would take that, but like, would you really do that if you didn't want to? I guess if you had to go to Kick, and they were going to pay you $1 million, not if it was just an opportunity. I wonder. I think that's more as she's positioning it, like she doesn't have to go.
A single word of what he said. I've watched the video about 20 times, but I think he's disagreeing with her. One thing you really do have to love, though, is like how fickle the streamer sphere is. I do remember like a year ago, you had Pokimane and XQC actually meet each other and collab, and now they're just beefing on stream a year later. Honestly, I do want to put it out there. Imagine the ransom you would have of getting hold of these streamers' Discords and the little group chats they have where they talk shit. The money they would offer for you to not leak it is probably a quarter of XQC's contract.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, XQC actually confronted Pokimane to basically say that even if you wanted to join Kick, you probably couldn't.
Listen, it's just what it is. Excuse me. Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't be able to. Right?
Now, overall, it pretty much is all but confirmed that apart from the bag that XQC got, he also has equity in Kick, which basically means that if Kick does better, he'll get more money. This isn't a flat deal, like, for example, the time when Ninja branded with Mixer, and they paid him a fat bag, and then when Mixer died, he kind of just took the money and ran. X seems like he actually wants to invest time and money into Kick, because overall, if more people sign up to Kick, their equity goes up, he gets more money.
Can I ask you something? And you can totally not answer, but I'm so curious.
Yeah.
Did they give you any equity?
Can I talk about that? Can I talk about that?
That's a yes if he said, can I talk about that? But you don't have to.
I got to, like, listen,
You were talking about, I was looking at
I got to choose.
I was looking at this, that, and that.
No, I got to choose whether I wanted some or not.
And you chose some.
Right?
Oh, probably if like some of your pay was in equity or
which is whatever.
cash.
But
Or gamble money.
But the reality is that I actually believe in the product. Like I generally do. So
yeah, I also think you really believe in the idea of non-exclusive streaming.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so what I thought is that equity, right, means that if I go super hard, right, I get a part of what I do.
I also like
And I really
non-exclusive
believe that
streaming.
I've been criticizing YouTube, Twitch.
I just don't understand why he thinks it's a good idea to play the entirety of films and then the entirety of TV shows. The thing is, I'll never get it right. Like, I don't stream as long as these people. I
Yeah,
don't
the
do
guy
like,
has.
12-hour streams a day. I can barely do like 5. I think the longest stream I've ever done in my entire life was playing Atomic Heart from start to finish. Bro, I needed to sleep for 3 days after that. I was a fucking rotting corpse. So I do commend the stamina these people have, but at the same time, you can't play an entire film for your chat as daycare and then think you can get away with it. It's stupid.
Alright, that was Pyro. What UPS doesn't want you to know by More Perfect Union. We have, actually before that, we're going to do Western companies prepare to carve up Ukraine. Billionaire sub. From First
In
Thought.
today's biased news, Western companies prepare to carve up Ukraine. Israel does more genocide. And the billionaires are turned into a fine slurry. A recent London meeting at the two-day Ukraine Recovery Conference saw pledges of over $60 billion towards rebuilding Ukraine, as the result of a war directly encouraged and maintained by US and NATO geopolitical interests. The donors include the EU, US, UK, and nearly 500 companies from 42 countries. Rebuilding critical civilian and military infrastructure, which had not been maintained since the illegal dissolution of the USSR in the early 90s, could cost upwards of $400 billion according to the World Bank. The conference also held talks about Ukrainian integration with the EU, with statements on how Ukraine still isn't ready in light of a judiciary and economy in need of reform according to EU specifications. Likewise with the country's crippling corruption issues, something that's been plaguing Ukraine for nearly 3 decades. Incredibly telling, the European Commission president stated that, quote, such reforms would send a powerful message to investors that they will get the transparency, fairness, and functioning
king?
institutions they need
Why
to
is he
invest
even there?
in Ukraine.
Fuck that guy.
No step in this process is done out of the goodness and love Western
King
nations
Charles?
have for Ukraine.
Why the fuck is he
It's
there?
a process dictated by the Western ruling class aimed at maintaining an important geostrategic military outpost for their own benefit. American lend-lease to Britain during World War II was finally paid off in 2006, and the Ukrainian situation will be no different. One military expert commented, "It will become a serious shackle on Ukraine. Ukraine will have to pay both the principal and interest for the various weapons and equipment it is to receive from the US in the future. The US is a businessman. It won't do business that will bring losses to itself." In previous American adventures at rebuilding, such as in Iraq,
Sounds right.
those that benefited were either American defense contractors like Halliburton and Lockheed Martin, private security firms like Blackwater, oil and energy giants that got preferential contracts to Iraqi oil, and reconstruction firms like Bechtel and
lady
Fluor
sleeping?
that
Oh,
received
no.
billions in contracts for rebuilding
Oh, she had to
Iraq.
stand up. Jesus.
There is no indication that this time will be any different, as Ukraine stands to owe its European and North American allies billions
I would fall
after the
asleep
war,
with that shit.
essentially holding it as a vassal state to serve their interests, to the detriment of Ukrainian economic, geopolitical, and internal security conditions. In extremely unimportant news, the rich dudes and rich dude's kid in the submarine are dead. In a small mercy, they died instantly, and the whole knocking on the sub walls thing was sensationalist nonsense. The US military was aware of the implosion
Jesus.
just hours after the sub.
JT, this is fucking crazy good, dude. Holy cow, man. What superb analysis.
Lost contact and declined to make that information public, meaning millions of dollars in rescue efforts were expended for no purpose.
I was
Indian Prime Minister Modi and U.S. President Biden faced questions about alleged human rights abuses during a joint news conference at the White House. Biden regurgitated the tired response about the importance of democratic values and the common commitment to diversity, culture, and open debate. The leaders discussed the need for a strong partnership, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, in the face of China's growing influence. They pledged to enhance cooperation in trade, technology, climate action, defense, and other areas. Modi's visit was significant as it marked his first state visit to the U.S. and highlighted the Biden administration's recognition of India's geopolitical position. Some legislators and activists raised concerns about human rights violations, including some who called for a boycott of Modi's address to Congress. The leaders also announced India's procurement of U.S.-made armed drones, solidifying a next-generation defense partnership, which was clearly the main reason for the event.
Yeah,
The United Nations has placed Russia's military and allied armed groups on its, quote, list of shame over the killing and maiming of hundreds of children in the Ukraine war. Coincidentally, and surely due to an honest oversight, the Israeli forces have been left off the list, despite intentionally murdering hundreds of Palestinian children in recent years. Speaking of Israel, hundreds of Israeli settlers have stormed Palestinian properties in the occupied West Bank, killing one man. The murderers say they were motivated by the previous killing of Israeli settlers. As always, when Israeli genocide sparks justified self-defense, the military occupation uses it as yet another excuse for their atrocities.
Guess they're building 1,000 more settlements.
Russia, Wagner chief Prigozhin has accused the Russian defense minister and commander of lying to President Putin and the Russian public over the extent of war losses in Ukraine. Not exactly a hot take, as this is common practice in war, but it makes for good publicity. On Thursday, Turkey's central bank hiked its key rate for the first time since early 2021, in a reversal of Erdogan's previous policies. This marks the latest attempt to put a stop to runaway inflation. Hopefully soon, the Turkish people won't have to trade their car for a loaf of bread.
Jesus.
And in positive news, the Conference on Jewish Material Claims Against Germany announced on Tuesday in a press release that Germany will pay out over $1.4 billion to Holocaust survivors in the coming year. This is a reassuring gesture in a time when right-wing sentiment and xenophobic rhetoric is once again on the rise in Germany. That's all for today. We'll be back on Monday with more news. If you'd like to see episodes with more in-depth analysis, consider supporting the show on Patreon so we can grow and expand.
Alright, what's the next video? Let's see here. Noah Sampson. Oh, actually, what UPS doesn't want you to know. Let's watch it. By more perfect
It's very
opinion.
difficult because when you're working like all night or, the graveyard shift, you tend to sleep during the day and you don't really get time with your family or with your kids. A lot of my coworkers and peers, you can just see it on their face. They look angry and honestly depressed, a lot of them feel like they're stuck, you know, like, you know, they need the healthcare and the benefits, but like the pay sucks, or they've invested so much time with the company and they're still not full time. It just, a lot of people are angry.
When you think of good middle-class jobs, you probably think of UPS. But the shipping behemoth has a secret. While full-time delivery drivers are the face of UPS, it's the part-time workers like Cesar Mendoza who are the heart of the $100 billion company. In fact, part-timers make up around 60% of the 340,000 UPS workers represented by the Teamsters. These workers have been ignored for nearly 30 years. But as UPS and the union wrestle over a new contract with a massive strike looming August 1st, part-time workers are coming out of the shadows to tell their story of what it's really like to work for the world's largest package delivery company.
My name is Jonathan Thomas Sr. I'm a UPS employee for almost 40 years.
And I'm Jonathan Thomas Jr., and I've been a UPS part-time employee for about 5 years.
These
The
guys,
biggest disparity is pay.
that's America right
He's
there, dog.
paid a part-time position where, you know, I'm
union
full-time.
guy,
when I first started,
two union
I
guys.
remember my wage was very poor. Once I got past probation, I was up to full pay. And for me, it was a matter of, I think, 6 weeks. But now that probationary period has been extended to 4 years.
Yeah, it sucks.
So the new people, the part-time people, even the new full-time drivers aren't getting their full pay for 4 years.
Fucking shitty.
So that's
for no reason.
quite a disparity.
Yeah,
Well, me and my
he's
girlfriend and my
being nice.
son, we stay at our in-laws' house, and we've been there for a while because we can't really afford our own
Sucks,
one-bedroom
man.
apartment here in California with the part-time wages I make and the part-time hours I get.
The hourly pay for UPS part-timers got bumped up to $22 in larger markets during the pandemic, when it was hard to find and keep workers.
That should be
fucking
I went back
minimum,
down suddenly to 16.
They didn't really give us a reason why they took away that extra pay.
It was like an incentive.
Yeah, it was like an incentive, and it was over, even though the volume didn't change, you know? Like, it's e-commerce is now bigger than before.
If pay is not there, they're gonna have to put in that overtime, which is sad.
Since part-timers are only guaranteed 3.5 hours of work a day, overtime is a hot commodity. The resulting process of securing those extra hours of work is exhausting and divisive.
We're not really united as a union in the warehouse. We're kind of all just like turning against each other because we need to pay our bills and pay our rent. So we fight for hours and fight for positions. Normally I come in at 3:30 a.m. and I'll get out around 8:30 a.m. if I'm lucky. It all just depends. It's very fast-paced. They want to get a certain amount of work done by a certain time, so they kind of push you to work fast.
We are physically moving those packages. Our job mainly is moving packages. It's not
Yeah,
driving.
it's very-
And I think most people's perception is that we're just driving.
Very
I talk to many
physical.
drivers, and you know, within
I used to live with two FedEx drivers, and they were constantly tired. They were really in shape dudes too. They were going to the gym, you know, once a day, as like a hobby. They liked working out, and they were really fit, like 6-packs, tall dudes, really muscular. And even FedEx wore them out. Similar situation. They're also contractors. Like, they're all part-time.
first 5 years of being married, they're divorced because of how long they work, how many days they work. They have a gap between them and their kids. So us
Sucks,
as
man.
union workers, we make this sacrifice for our kids, but it's hard that that's what it's gonna become. We're gonna have to lose that relationship with our family.
At first, I really didn't want to do any UPS work because I knew just firsthand, just from seeing him come home exhausted, you know, especially during the hot summers that we would have, that I knew it was like really laborious work. It wasn't until about 26 when you start to, you know, lose health insurance coverage that I started like freaking out. I'm like, what should I do? Which he, you know, which Dad then told me was to go do part-time work at least because they still get the same health coverage that I've basically had my whole life. Whenever I need medication, go to the hospital, anything, I'm not paying anything. Hospital appointments are like
that's our only
thing, and they're tiny.
We have to pay for emergency visit.
UPS has spent years rerouting new hires to exploitative part-time work with false promises of promotion.
I joined the fight with the union probably about 2 years ago.
Good, dude.
Because we started noticing that this last contract they did is horribly wrong.
I never see anyone go into a full-time driver position. They always go into being a 224 position first, which was basically a part-time position that works full hours, become a 224, and then maybe you'll become a full-time driver. And not like your position changes, not like the work you do changes. You know, the only thing that changes is whatever code they type into their system for like pay. That seems a bit, that's like ridiculous.
I know people in my warehouse that they've been working for UPS for 14 years and they're still part-timers. You know, a lot of us try to make money other places, you know, but we don't get hired because the companies want us to commit, you know, 110% to their company. You know, they don't want us to work part-time at UPS, so it's hard finding another job. You know, when you're right there doing a hard labor job, you know, in the middle of the night, and you're sitting there thinking like, damn, like, I invested so much time with this company, I thought it would have paid off by now, but you're still making part-time hours, part-time wages. You're not really moving up at all. You're just in the same hole you've been in the whole time.
UPS has until July 31st to reach a fair contract agreement with the union. Part-timers are pushing for big changes to nearly every aspect of their job.
One thing we're really looking to get out of this contract is sort of a pay rise across the board for part-time and full-time employees. Not just to keep up with inflation, but to actually do well and prosper on our own. The inflation is used, I think, as a talking point for corporations to discuss, you know, why it's justified to pay us less or something, because it's such a complex issue. But the bottom line is that I know for a fact UPS hasn't been losing any money. They've actually gained tremendous.
That's true of pretty much every company.
E-commerce is just ever expanding. So for them to cry that inflation would cause any sort of like rippling effect as far as our pay is absolute nonsense.
You know, and I think UPS plays that card
Boom.
too.
Yeah,
Every
he's
time
right.
They have a contract.
Yeah, they cry poor.
They cry poor, but they've spent every dime they possibly can before the contract just so they can get to that, well, look at our numbers. Okay, well, what did you invest in to get you there?
Yeah, buddy.
The part-timers want higher part-time wages, more full-time positions, combo jobs, more hours, because we can't really have a chance out here in California with 4 or 5 hours. Like, we can barely pay for gas and groceries. Like, me and my family can't even afford a studio apartment out here. So it's like, you need to give your workers who you care about a fighting chance out here so we can keep our heads above water.
Yeah.
I've heard, you know, the younger people are worried that the senior people are going to sell them out, which is so far from the truth. We are so united. I think everybody, the minute they become a full-fledged employee in Teamster, they realize that their greatest future is looking at the young guys and helping the young guys get what they get and even more. This was the sign I carried during the 1997 UPS strike. Did you have any memories of the 1997 strike that your dad walked the picket line for?
I don't remember you on a picket line or anything, but I remember being in a union hall with hot dogs and playing with other kids.
Many of us are willing to go on strike this next contract because all these years we feel like they've been getting away with so much, you know, and we just feel like it's time now. Like, it's time to take care of your workers and invest in your people.
There's more to the human experience than just waking up at 5 in the morning, commuting to your job, doing your job until, 9 at night, commuting back home, sleeping and doing that, every day until like you're free for 2 days of the week if you're lucky, right? And that time you're spent laboring at home to catch up on stuff you're behind. You're missing out on a lot of human experience that way. And I think a union can help you balance that by
in any sphere of work, from retail to
giving you
warehouse,
your life back, essentially.
Yeah, to gaining your life back.
Yeah.
In today's biased news.
We already watched this. Okay. Yeah, that was an amazing video. More Perfect Union. We love your videos. Maybe I should take the call up. I've actually gotten... Anyway. What is a tanky? Alright. So... there's no one in chat anyway. Okay. In defense of toxic internet culture, Noah Samson is next.
Misrepresenting any of his points. I'd also like to ask that you don't comment on the video unless you have some...
Let's go back. I think it was 20 seconds.
Hey everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a video called Internet Culture is Freaking Nauseating. That's me adding a little censor there to keep it PG for YouTube. I make money. This video is made by a creator called Blessing Stranded. You should go watch that video. I've left it linked in the description. I'd appreciate it if you did so you can be sure that I'm not misrepresenting any of his points. I'd also like to ask that you don't comment on the video unless you have something constructive to say. I know for the vast majority of you who are respectful and normal and cool and chill even, that might sound patronizing, and for that I apologize. But some of you do need to hear that. So sorry and thank you and you're welcome. Okay, so just to start off, I actually like this video. I think it's a good video. It's thoughtful, it's nuanced, and it makes some great points, ones that I think represent the perspectives of a lot of people out there. It offers some salient critiques of tribalism and toxicity, and the conclusion of the video is a call for empathy during online engagement, which we love to see it. We love it. So if I think it's a good video, what are we doing here? Well, despite the good points, there are a few things that I do disagree with, and today I want to provide some counterpoints to those arguments and just give my perspective and thoughts. Not that anyone asked, but I don't know. I thought it'd be fun to try something a little different than what we usually do on the channel. Dialectics, that's the new direction I want to take these response videos towards. Cool. Dialectics. If you don't know what that means, check out this picture here and then substitute these in for that. Hegel would have loved this chart. He loved to text. All right, without further ado, let's go. The first argument from this video that I want to look at concerns the use of the term incel. Blessing Stranded makes the case that the term is overused, sensationalized, and weaponized to the point where it's becoming unhelpful and counterproductive. While he acknowledges the real harm done, the horrors created by the quote-unquote real incels of the world, specifically citing some spree shootings undertaken by self-proclaimed incels, to him it seems that the majority of the time the term incel is being used is as a dig towards frustrated men who very likely do not deserve that label and might be helped if we didn't use it on them.
I can't count the number of times I've seen a guy vent about something, even if just briefly. Instead of people trying to help them, they just try making sure that guy isn't thinking about going on a killing spree. Like, how the fuck did you manage to take things from a 1 or 2 all the way to 1,000?
Now, he makes what I think is a really good point in this section about how this label weaponizes the patriarchal expectations of men and sex against them and shames them when they don't adhere to that expectation.
Not to mention that the abuse of this word upholds the exact same ideals that are criticized constantly about masculine culture, things that I myself don't like either, such as sex for men being perceived as one of the highest status symbols, because I've seen online the way this damages men. The concept of immediately poking fun at a man's sex life, regardless of how successful it actually is, feels weirdly juvenile.
Being a man that has sex does not preclude one from being a misogynist. That's true, go off. Now, where we start to run into some issues, though, is when Blessing Stranded gives us an example of this wrongful labeling. He presents the internet's response to a 12-year-old who made some inflammatory comments on his Instagram story after a breakup.
A great example of this are all the people panicking over a 12-year-old saying dumb shit after a breakup, with presumably his older brother calling him an incel in this screenshot, which is insane, and people quoting the tweet with all these think pieces. I'm not saying you should find this funny or amusing, but he is literally 12. People acting heartbroken about how it starts so young, as if 12-year-olds are known for saying the most outlandish shit, including racism and jokes about the Holocaust. And I'm not saying no one finds that distasteful either. I don't exactly find it amusing when little kids say racist shit to be edgy, but that's what a lot of 12-year-olds do, and we know this. It's why no one makes think pieces and dramatically worded sentences about how these are the kinds of kids that become cops and start killing black people, or that they'll grow up to become neo-Nazis. Now, maybe if a 12-year-old went on a rant about why certain groups of people need to be killed or assaulted, or the things he says seem very obviously passed down to the adults in his environment, then I can understand, and I would agree. But that's not what's happening here.
The caption of this story reads, "Don't fall in love, all bitches are cheating, lying whores." This post is framed by Blessing Stranded as just edgy, distasteful, dumb, and outlandish, not out of character for anything another 12-year-old might say, but calling him an incel for a post like this is to him an unfair and extreme leap. Now, first off, I do want to point out that the majority of the posts that he shows aren't actually calling the kid an incel. The original post calls what he says incel shit, but doesn't label him as an incel directly. One person says that they're sad for girls who have to experience the extreme misogyny on display here. One advocates that kids be taught about breakups in schools. Another is concerned. Another still is worried about how young the kid is to be saying things like this. These posts are all critical of the content in the original post, but the majority of them never actually call him an incel. This distinction between writing concerns about his rhetoric and outright calling him an incel is important, because the unfair labeling aspect of the latter is what Blessing Stranded takes issue with.
And the word incel is is a great example of how people lose the plot. It used to genuinely terrify me back in like 2015. The only time you saw that word being used is when the person legitimately fit the description. Now the word gets handed out like CDs in the early 2000s. I see that shit now and it means absolutely nothing. It fucking reeks of a chronically online individual. I've literally never seen a well-adjusted human being with an actual life use that word unironically, with the overwhelming majority not even knowing what it means. It's genuinely insane to me that we have a word where the spectrum on one end has literal serial killers, and on the other, there's guys that said something you didn't like. And then there's everything in fucking between.
I find this point a bit weird because, sure, on the one hand, we can never say definitively whether or not this kid is an incel, as in actually an incel, posting on the forums and self-identifying as such. But what we can do is look at what he is saying. And this post here is an incel-ass post. He is making an incel argument, one that is foundational to their worldview, to their politics. He starts out with a negative generalization about the deviant nature of all women. All bitches are cheating, lying whores, and with that claim in mind, he goes on to warn you, as a boy or a man, to stay away from them. Don't fall in love, or be celibate, you might say. While a self-identifying incel might take that first claim, that all women are whores, and follow it up by concluding that that's why they'll always pick Chad over you, you'll never win, so don't even try or whatever. The boy's conclusion that men should stay away from women adheres to this same logic. The logic of explicitly resenting all women, adjusting your behavior according to that principle. Elliot Rogers, the incel spree shooter who Blessing Stranded later cites as an example of what a real incel looks like, his manifesto was filled with this sort of rhetoric. In its final pages, Roger writes, "Women are like a plague. They don't deserve to have any rights. Their wickedness must be contained in order to prevent future generations from falling to degeneracy. Women are vicious, evil, barbaric animals, and they must be treated as such." Statistically speaking, yes, it is extremely unlikely that the kid in the original post will go on an incel killing spree. But the next incel that does, he will be using this logic as justification. That makes it, in my opinion, okay for someone to describe this post as an incel-ass post, because saying something like this is a stepping stone to that end point of becoming an incel. Not all misogynists are incels, no, but all incels are misogynists, and that process begins with statements like the one that this 12-year-old posted. The plea to stop labeling every misogynist as an incel is valid, I think, but that shouldn't prevent us from being able to draw connections between misogyny and inceldom. If we're not allowed to identify and criticize incel rhetoric until the bodies start dropping, then we're in big trouble, in my opinion. Alright, on to the next point. So, this one concerns how Blessing Stranded feels that we ought to deal with sensational online cult-type figures. He gives a few examples and then eventually lands on Andrew Tate. The argument he makes with Tate is that the best way to deal with someone like him is to stop giving him airtime.
I am so fucking tired of seeing the internet's new Donald Trump and hearing all these god-awful think pieces and tantrums over his popularity. He is the perfect example of sensationalism. Every time I think he's gone for good, he's forced back onto my feed all over again. This was easily one of the most cringe interactions I've ever had to sit through. And y'all gave her 4 million for this weak-ass response. 4. His entire brand is that he's the forbidden messenger that the world is out to get. That he's the one that will lead the revolution of masculinity against modern society who seeks to destroy it. And then what do y'all do? Instead of speaking up once or twice, then never again, you continuously feed into that image, crying over every last thing he does, making him more popular, spreading his message even wider, and giving his claims more validity to his audience. You are complaining about the same thing that you are directly contributing to. If being hated for the truth or having the balls to say something is a key part of someone's identity, your best bet is to literally ignore them. As in, do not give them the attention that they need.
So this is an anti-platforming argument, as in platforming the views of someone like Andrew Tate lends them some sense of validity. It exposes larger audiences to his ideas, inevitably adding more people to his fan base, and not solving any of the underlying issues. The best and only real solution here is to stop talking about him altogether. I actually agree with this argument in some contexts. Like a while back when Sneeko brought the neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes onto his stream, and neither Sneeko nor any of his guests were equipped to adequately challenge his views, this ended up exposing thousands of young people to a bunch of racist arguments without being presented the vitally necessary counterarguments. It normalized having a Nazi in the room, saying Nazi stuff on a massive platform. Okay, so quick editor's note, I realized that eventually Destiny came onto that stream and argued with Fuentes a whole bunch, and that was, probably a good thing. But pretty much everything leading up to that point was an uncritical presentation of Nick's views. This is bad, in my opinion, because it grants Nazi views an undue level of legitimacy for a
Not a huge
civilized
Destiny
society.
fan,
Bringing it back to Andrew
that
Tate,
probably
though,
was
the
good.
trouble with applying the platforming argument to him is that even if everyone talking about him were to stop criticizing him forever, that wouldn't make him go away. Unlike Fuentes, Tate is massively influential online. He was, and still is, going viral.
Alright, we are going to pause this video for 1 minute. I'm going to get some more coffee, and we'll be right back.
to his and how much real-world harm will this cause? I don't know, but it'd be a lot, in my opinion. The last thing I want to talk about on this point is the way that Blessing Stranded actually makes a pro-platforming argument. He cites the trend of joke tweets that share sensational posts and add intentionally unrelated commentary.
In general, the best way to handle a lot of shit is to simply ignore it, or at least not feed into it. I don't know if y'all ever seen tweets where all the replies was just unrelated nonsense and basically everyone was ignoring the original poster. It's quite rare. But that to me feels like the ideal way to respond to someone saying dumb shit online. Instead of everybody getting riled up alongside with you, turn that post into a good unrelated laugh instead. But unfortunately, the majority of the internet seems to be allergic to the idea of ignoring things it doesn't like, and especially things it doesn't want to bring the wrong attention to.
Now, on first pass, these tweets might seem like they are ignoring the problem. They're not commenting on or responding to the original posts. They're turning it into something funny or positive with jokes and memes, none of which are related whatsoever to the original sentiments being expressed. However, by responding to the original posts in this way, these people are making a statement about them. They are sharing these posts with seemingly unrelated commentary, and the statement being made there is that the idea I'm sharing is so socially transgressive or absurd or unworthy of consideration that we can move past it and talk about something else. The debate has already been settled. This post sucks. So check out this crochet lion or whatever else. These posts often go viral, and the reason for that is that the people who share them understand and agree with the statement that they make, with their non-statement. The unrelated quote tweets on a post reading, "Ladies, can y'all really pay all of your bills without a man?" only goes viral because the communities that share it are already in agreement that the original post is dumb and bad. If everyone that saw this tweet was genuinely interested in debating the topic of ladies paying bills without a man, the unrelated meme thing wouldn't make any sense, and none of these posts would go viral. In promoting this approach to responding to criticism, Blessing Stranded is making a pro-platforming argument. These are a form of discourse. The people are not ignoring the original content, they are sharing it. They are exposing more people to the original idea. And unlike Hassan or Vice's videos about Andrew Tate, they are doing so without providing any meaningful counter-argument. And
we gotta go. Stream's over. Pack up, go home. Thank y'all for watching. It is the end of the stream. We're sorry so many breaks today. Had some bathroom trouble in the beginning, and then it's time to wrap up the stream because I got a yard sale. So thank everybody for coming today. If you want to follow us on Twitch, Instagram, or YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Follow us, and on YouTube, hit the bell notification so you can get an email or notification from the app of your choice when we go live, which is every day between 4 and 6 a.m. Thank you for watching. Be good to yourself. We love you. We'll see you next time. Maybe later today. Maybe tomorrow morning. Goodbye.